Hey, this is Southern Purple One. Today I want to talk about a subject that has affected me. And I don't tell a lot of war stories, but I'm going to tell you this story because hopefully it will help you learn something from a tragic situation. I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment, big fan of self-defense. But anytime you mix people, a crisis, um, firearms, you can have accidents. You can have good guys trying to do good things, hurt good people, or hurt the wrong person. This was a few months into right after we invaded Iraq. I was there for the initial invasion, and not the Gulf War, but the recent invasion. And we had set up a traffic control point, a checkpoint. We had set them up for a while. We were very proficient with it. This time we set up in a hilly area, and we decided to go in this hilly area so they couldn't see us. And we were in this curve, so when they come down the hill in a curve and then go around the curve, we're set up right there. So there's no way they can try to get away from us. Well, this was getting very late, and we were going to do a nighttime operation. And we got there at still daylight, and we'd set up, but it turned dusk, and it was getting very dark. But we could still see a little bit. We had set up big lights, big generators and big lights, so we had a little bit of light on our search area. It was probably a couple hours we'd been there, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose for us. A vehicle, I was near the rear of it, so I was probably 50 to 75 yards max away from the front, overlooking it. And all of a sudden, a vehicle approaches a truck at a high rate of speed. I didn't pay it much attention because that wasn't my responsibility, and all of a sudden, gunshots rang out. The vehicle ran past the first two guys. They jumped out of the way, returned fire, thinking that our position was being either going to be attacked with a vehicle bomb, or they were just trying to get through our roadblock and not get caught. The vehicle came through a little bit further and then made a right-hand turn because we had some concertina wire up, and made a right-hand turn and went into the desert. Our lights were on our search area, and on the area we were working was not around the desert. So as soon as it got out of that light, it was pitch dark in the desert area and in the sand. It stopped maybe 100 meters, 100 yards, and we could hear it stop. We made a quick check of our personnel, make sure my guys, as a squad leader, they were good. Got good on all. Everybody was good and up. And it was me and about 4 soldiers and the platoon sergeant. We went down to the truck not knowing what to expect. We didn't know what was going on. The soldier opened the door. I covered down on the occupants, making sure that they were no longer a threat. What I saw was a young boy, 10, 11 years old, in the floorboards, laying down on the floorboards. A male, and probably 40, was in the passenger seat, crumpled over the steering wheel. He had taken 2 5.56 rounds through the back, and they exited the chest. The boy was unharmed. There was probably 4 or 5 sheep in the back. A few of them were definitely hit pretty hard, and they were dead for sure. I truly believe those sheep protected that young boy. Sheep was on the right-hand side. The bodies were there. It was a divine intervention that those sheep protected that young boy. We pulled him out. During this time, the young man was saying, no Alibaba, not bad, and some other words, trying to indicate that he was not a terrorist or a bad guy. He also said, no brakes, no brakes. We pulled him out. At that point, I knew the man was dead. No pulse. We immediately got him ready for transport, and we were going to take him to an aid station to see what we could do. I did reach in very carefully, not getting any blood on me, and check the brakes. There was no brakes on the vehicle. At that point, I was like, oh gosh. He wasn't trying to run us. He had no brakes. This is a third world country. People are poor. You know, if you don't have any money to fix your vehicle, but you've got to, get a living and support your family, you just do what you can do. We transported him there. When we came back for the vehicle, someone had stolen the live sheep. So that was more insult for this poor family. Did we learn something? Was it a tragic accident? We didn't know. There's no brakes. We did learn something. If you set up a roadblock, TCP, in a third world country, don't set it up on a downhill slide because nobody has good brakes. And we should have known that because we've done other ones on slight inclines, and when they get out of their vehicle, there's no emergency brake and the car would roll, so we'd have to get a rock and shove it under the tires as we got the occupants out and searched their vehicle so it wouldn't roll away on us. We learned something. We were good guys trying to help people, but bad things happen, wrong things happen. What I want you to know is a lot of guys say, well, I'm going to protect my community, I'm going to set up a roadblock, I'm going to do this or that. In that crisis situation, you might have great intentions. You're a good guy trying to help your community, help your family. But when you mix a crisis with people, with firearms, you're going to have a problem. And that's even true in a self-defense. We all train hard to protect ourselves, protect our family. When you do train and you do have to use a firearm, it has consequences. Every time you pull a trigger, where does that round go? Is it going to hit the bad guy? How do I know that's the bad guy? I'm not trying to scare you away from using firearms. If you feel your life is in danger, definitely use a firearm. Use whatever means to protect your family. But what I want you to know is in a WROL crisis, in a worst-case situation, a total breakdown of law and order, you mix firearms, you mix a crisis, you mix stress, you mix humans, there's going to be accidents. Innocent people are going to get hurt. Just be prepared for that. Psychologically be prepared for that. Do everything you can to safeguard it. When you pull a trigger and that round goes down range, it has impacts on everyone's life. So train hard, but make sure you be very careful and do whatever you can to make sure you're in the right. But remember, in a WROL crisis, without rule of law, bad things are going to happen to good people. Just mentally be prepared for that. Thanks for watching.